Well, now we're back to 6 months with no football. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Appreciate you for coming and hanging out. And today I will be, recapping the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the NFL honors list, talk about how important that is, and then we're going to talk about some possible free agents that will be coming up quite soon, because we got the re-signing period, which starts here soon. There's a time where NFL teams get a chance to re-sign players, and then it'll move on to free agency, and then the NFL Combine, and the draft, and there's just a lot coming up these next couple of weeks. I think I have this right. I don't know. I really don't know. That's better. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I fixed my mic. Okay. With that all being said, there's a lot for us to talk about, a lot for us to cover right now. Not really. So let's get things started here. Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, you guys got a huge win, 29-13 over the New England Patriots. New England didn't score a single point until the fourth quarter, and it was like with 7 minutes left. So, yeah, pretty much a snooze fest. I'm still tired from the game, It was, goodness, it was bad. Sam Darnold, 19-38, 202 yards and a touchdown through the air. Kenneth Walker ends up winning the Super Bowl MVP. I think it woulda, shoulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda went to the kicker because, it's Jason Myers. And he set an NFL record for most points by a kicker in a Super Bowl. He had 5 field goals. 5. 5 of them. His longest was 41 yards. He had 2 extra points. This man kicked the ball 7 times and made every single one of them. And yes, he did. The punter had 7 punts as well. Special teams should have gotten recognized, is what I'm trying to say, in the Super Bowl, because that was basically Seattle's offense for 3 quarters. And that was just what it was. Oh, man. There was just not much. Rashid Shaheed caught a ball on a jet sweep and lost 5 yards. Then you got Drake May over here, 27-43, 295, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. There for a little bit, they could not get the ball moving. And what I mean by a little bit is like 3 quarters of this game, New England Patriots couldn't do anything at all on offense. And it was just embarrassing. Matt Collins ends up leading the room in receiving with 4 receiving and 78 yards and a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson also caught a touchdown, which was very close to being an incompletion, I will say. But the Patriots, they just came in. They didn't have as big of guns as the Seahawks did. Their defense was better than the Patriots, and it was just, not everybody's going to remember this game. There wasn't any huge stars, or at least current stars, in it other than like JSN and probably Drake May, but they were both young. They weren't like certified stars that have been in the game. I guess the one you could say would be like Cooper Kupp, which he did lead the room in receiving with 6 catches for 61. But he was targeted 12 times, and Cooper Kupp is not the Cooper Kupp from the last time he was in the Super Bowl. But congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. You are Super Bowl champions. I did predict you to be Super Bowl champions. Didn't post the video because, 1, I was really busy, and 2, I actually did record something, but the file got corrupted, and so I wasn't going to re-record anything unless I was going to be wrong, and I was right. So there was no point in re-recording another video about how the Seahawks were going to win this game, because they clearly won pretty handily. Next, NFL honors list. So these were quite interesting. We're going to start with, if I would have predicted these, they would have been really easy, except for the Hall of Fame. We all know what's been going on with the Hall of Fame, and if you don't, you should probably go research it. Never mind, I'm right here to tell you. So basically, there was 2 people that got snubbed from the Hall of Fame this year, and it was the Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, and then the Patriots old head coach, and Bill Belichick. Should they have been inducted in the Hall of Fame? Yes, I get it, but it was also like one of Roger Craig's last years to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, so I get why they didn't get in, and some of them were holding grudges and whatnot, and it's all been talked about the last few weeks. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. But with that being said, your Hall of Fame class for 2026 was Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and Roger Craig. Roger Craig, the running back out of Nebraska, had some solid seasons in the NFL. Good for him. Adam Vinatieri, a longtime kicker. I think he played for like 17 seasons or something like that. Something crazy. 17 seasons for the New England Patriots. Luke Kuechly, one of the best linebackers in NFL history. Undoubtedly a Hall of Famer, first ballot. Fantastic. This guy could know what play you're going to run before your coach tells you through the headset of what play you're going to run. I mean, this guy was crazy. He down for distance. He knew what was best for his team and your team, and then he would adjust his defense and get them in the right spot. Now, granted, they did lose in the Super Bowl when he did start for the Carolina Panthers against the Denver Broncos, and goodness, old Peyton Manning there for Super Bowl 50. So take that as you will, but that offense was also pretty ridiculously good. Next, you've got Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald. Now, Larry Fitzgerald, longtime wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, really, really good. Is definitely a Hall of Famer. Had several great seasons where he led the NFL in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. Just a fantastic. And then they basically got Larry Fitz again with DeAndre Hopkins, or at least kind of similar. Larry Fitzgerald's definitely better, and he's also won a Super Bowl, I think. Or no, he was at a Super Bowl, at least. He was at a Super Bowl. And then you got Drew Brees, obviously Super Bowl champion, MVP. I don't know if he actually won MVP, but I'm pretty sure he got Super Bowl MVP with the New Orleans Saints, and that was when Sean Payton was still with the Saints, and he was just a long-time good quarterback there. Drew Brees, absolutely awarded a Hall of Fame spot and was really, really well. So Walton Payton Man of the Year. Let's move on to more NFL honors. Was Bobby Wagner. Great story here with his mom and everything. Congratulations to Bobby Wagner. Great thing. Okay, so then next you got best moment. I guess I didn't realize that this was a thing, but best moment of the year, so best play, was Caleb Williams throwing a game-winning Hail Mary touchdown pass to DJ Moore versus the Packers. I think this was like week 13 or 14. It was huge. It was crazy. It was like Thursday night or Sunday night football. It was just crazy. You should probably go watch it. Anyways, Defensive Rookie of the Year was Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker that I wanted the Chiefs to draft, last year. But, hey, good job for him. He showed up and showed out for the Browns this year, put up a pretty successful season. But, yeah, and then we go to our Offensive Player of the Year, or Offensive Rookie of the Year, was Tetairoa McMillan. Panthers wide receiver. I expected him to have a pretty good season this year, and it turns out that he did. Do I think he should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year? I mean, he did put up a really good season for stats, and he was part of the reason, or if not the reason, why the Panthers made the playoffs this season. But if Jackson Dart stays healthy and, that Giants roster stays healthy this year, I think Jackson Dart wins this award. I still think Jackson Dart is definitely the best quarterback to come out of the class of this past season. Then the normal Defensive Player of the Year, another Browns player. So the Browns got two Defensive Player of the Years, one regular and then one rookie Defensive Player of the Year, and it was Myles Garrett. I mean, he broke the sack record by 23 sacks this season. Congratulations to Myles Garrett. Undoubtedly one of the best, if not the best, edge rusher in NFL history, and he's definitely up there. That man can put up some sacks. Offensive Player of the Year went to Jackson Smith-Njigba. Ended up going into the Super Bowl. Thought he was going to put up some big stats, but he ended up going into the medical tent and then further on into the locker room to get evaluated for a concussion. So he didn't play the whole Super Bowl, and I think that's part of the reason why the Seahawks struggled a lot offensively early in this game, other than the Patriots' defense was just fantastic. But regardless, JSN ends up winning Offensive Player of the Year, and well-deserved. Comeback Player of the Year is Christian McCaffrey from the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers this year where like there was a dude falling left and right and middle and just everywhere. Everybody was falling apart. And Christian McCaffrey ended up just being the saving grace for that entire team and that entire roster this season. Now, Christian McCaffrey did not win Offensive Player of the Year. He was very close in voting, apparently. Him and Puka Nacua and JSN were all close when it came to voting. And Christian McCaffrey also got some MVP votes. He didn't win MVP, but he did get some MVP votes as well. Christian McCaffrey, by far one of the best Swiss Army knives of this generation, and he'll make the Hall of Fame someday too, unless he gets snubbed of a first ballot. But that's, anyways. All right, Coach of the Year ended up going to Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, head coach of the New England Patriots. He's putting the Patriots up for a good, successful season this upcoming year. It will be interesting to see where the Patriots go because they're going to have a harder schedule. And, what pieces they had in free agency and everything to be able to put up with these teams around them that are rising and will take their spot. But the most valuable player, or the MVP award, went to Matthew Stafford. Well-deserved. The man's like 36 years old, something like that in the NFL. He's never won an MVP. He's won one Super Bowl the year he got traded to the Los Angeles Rams in like 2023. He's been really, really good, or 2022. He's been really, really good for the Rams. He was good for the Lions. And, I think it was great. The story with him and his 4 daughters up there on stage, it was just a heartwarming moment. And, yeah, Drake may put up a good season, but he started declining in the playoffs. Well, on the other hand, Matthew Stafford really had actually good playoff stats. His team just kind of let him down, and his defense kind of let him down there in the stretch against the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game, which the NFC Championship game was more entertaining. Heck, the AFC Championship game was more entertaining than the Super Bowl. So, I think we all knew that Seattle, unless you're a freaking Patriots fan, but I think we all knew that Seattle was going to end up winning this game. I had them winning by 2 scores, which they did. So goodness, it was quite crazy. I actually had them winning by 2 touchdowns, and they won by 15 instead of 14. So there's that. However, next we're going to get into some things that are a little bit more speculative because, now that the season's over and we got to wait 6 more months for football, goodness why, I'm going to be talking about, probably like the top 12 free agents that are going to be free agents or are free agents that could still be signed by the team that is on this list. So all of these players could be re-signed, and I will go ahead and tell you which ones I think are going to be re-signed or not in these top 12 players. So first we got Trey Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Trey Hendrickson is projected to have $21 million this next season. He will be a free agent. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to re-sign him. If they do, that's great. But, he's kind of coming along and having like a Robert Quinn-esque contract. It will be interesting to see what happens with Trey Hendrickson. He's graded as a 90 edge rusher on PFF. So we'll see. I don't think he's going to get re-signed, but, we'll see. Wide receiver George Pickens, Dallas Cowboys. I definitely don't think the Cowboys are going to re-sign George Pickens. I think he's going to walk into free agency and get a bag. He was like 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards. He'll probably get a franchise tag, if anything, which I could see Dallas doing 100%, because if you know who their owner is, then it's going to happen probably. But if he doesn't get franchise tagged, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. He's gone to Pittsburgh. He got traded to Dallas, and we'll see where he goes from there. Honestly, if the Chiefs want to pick him up, I'm not going to be mad. But he's going to be a lot of money. Tyler Lindenbaum, center for the Baltimore Ravens. I do think the Ravens actually re-sign him here. They just fired their head coach. It's not going to be, the same. They're projecting, or PFF is projecting, to have a 4-year, $80 million contract with $53 million guaranteed. That's really pretty good for a center. He's definitely one of, if not the best center in the NFL, just behind Creed Humphrey. So we will see. what happens there, but I expect the Ravens to re-sign him. Linebacker Devin Lloyd, Jacksonville Jaguars, really good outside linebacker here, or middle linebacker rather. He's expected to get a 3-year, $48 million deal through free agency. I think that the Jags re-sign him for a little bit cheaper, and we'll see that in the coming days. Then you got corner Jamel Dean from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If a lot of you don't know who this is, he actually ended up having a pretty good season this past year. He had a passer rating of 46.9 when targeted. What that means is when the quarterback targets this corner or a receiver on this corner, their passer rating is a 46.9, which is not good. But the average in the NFL for an average good corner, it's like in the 70s. So if the passer rating is way below that, then that means you got a good corner. So, for those of you who haven't heard of Jamel Dean from Tampa Bay, he's actually a pretty good upcoming corner, and he will be a free agency this year. PFF is expecting him to make $55 million for over the next 3 years. Coming into free agency, I do expect the Bucs to move on from a Jamel Dean just because corners are kind of like wide receivers. You can replace them pretty easy. I mean, I say that, but obviously, when you have a superstar, that's really hard to replace. In this case, Jamel Dean's more of just a star role player on that Bucs defense. So we'll see what happens there. Then the Super Bowl MVP himself, Kenneth Walker, is going to be a free agent. Now, I fully expect the Seattle Seahawks to re-sign him. PFF explains here that he's going to be worth a 3-year, $27 million contract with $20 million guaranteed. That's a lot of guaranteed money for a running back, I will say. Running backs' careers can be over just like that. He is graded as a 93, so take that as you will. He is really, really good. I mean, he's really good. He's kind of developed more of the Le'Veon Bell play style, especially that's what we saw in the Super Bowl. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here with Kenneth Walker. I expect the Seahawks to re-sign him. I mean, why not? He just won Super Bowl MVP. Edge rusher, Owe, I think is how you say his name. I think he used to be a Raven. Yeah, he used to be the Baltimore Ravens, but then he got traded to the Chargers at mid-season, something like that. But he's a really good edge rusher. For the Chargers, I don't think the Chargers are going to bring him back unless they feel like he did really well. I mean, he did rank 11th in the NFL when it came to defenders in the pass rush. He had a 16.5% win rate on blitzes, and you might think that's kind of low, but for edge rushers, that's pretty dang good. Contract, he's expected to have a 4-year, $77 million contract with $40 million guaranteed. That will be quite interesting to see what happens there. It's kind of looking like a Matthew Judon back when he was still with the Patriots situation in like 2021. So we'll see what happens there. Next, Devin Bush, Cleveland Browns. Now, do the Browns re-sign Devin Bush? Probably not. Do the Chargers re-sign Owe? It's probably not as well. But Devin Bush, pretty good middle linebacker. There's a lot of these Cleveland Browns defensive pieces that if I'm the Browns, I'm going to want to keep them because that's your best chances to win. He's expected to get a $36 million contract, which I know you're dealing with the Deshaun Watson situation still, so it will be quite difficult to be able to bring back Devin Bush. But Devin Bush is really, really good. So, and also he had his highest PFF grade since 2019. So that was pretty good. He finished at an 85.2. Pretty good there. By the way, these grades are all based off of PFF's grading system. They always grade players, and they aren't always the most accurate, but they are pretty dang accurate. Next, at 9, you got Breece Hall, New York Jets. Now, do I think the New York Jets are going to sign him? I think they're going to try, but I don't think Breece Hall's going to come back to the New York Jets. This is kind of like a David Njoku situation. I'm going to talk about David Njoku. David Njoku, my goodness, tight end for the Cleveland Browns. He is also going to be a free agent this year, and I don't think he's coming back to Cleveland either. That's another big thing with some of these players on these terrible teams. They're not going to want to come back, especially if they're really good. They're not coming back to your franchise. Sorry. So he is not going to be returning to the New York Jets. Breece Hall, that is. He had over 2,000 snaps this season, even though I think he dealt with a little bit of injury at some point. He graded as an 84.4. The Chiefs tried to trade for him about midseason, right at the trade deadline. Didn't end up working. I would have traded for him. It might have saved our season, but who knows? Who knows? Mahomes still might tear his Achilles, and we'd still be under bridge. We'd still have water under the bridge, right? It's all water under the bridge at this point. Contract projection is a 3-year, $37 million with $25 million guaranteed. That is fully available and fully possible there for the Kansas City Chiefs, I will say. So, Breece Hall definitely going to somewhere else. Alec Pierce, wide receiver. Now, this guy might be one of the most underrated deep threat wide receivers in the NFL, if I'm going to be completely honest. He's really, really good downfield. Let me just put this into perspective for you. When you think downfield threat, you think of Deshaun Jackson, Tyreek Hill, and Alec Pierce. Now, Alec Pierce is not the fastest wide receiver or the biggest wide receiver. He's just got really, really good downfield, go catch the ball, and just route running in general when it comes to running deep routes. He's just that good. And when it comes to Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, who I'm going to talk about here in just a second, throwing the ball downfield, he's really good at catching the football. Now, PFF only has him as a 73 grade, but for 4 years, $96 million, that's what he's projected. That's a big bag. That's a big bag. Do I think he comes back to Indianapolis? Sure. I think he comes back to Indy unless somebody offers him way more than that. And then the linebacker, Nakobe Dean from the Philadelphia Eagles. Pretty good. He's projected to have a 3-year, $41 million contract as well. He's just coming off his rookie contract. He didn't really perform the greatest for the Eagles, so we'll see what happens there. I expect the Eagles to re-sign him. However, one thing that kind of shows speculation to me is the fact that the Eagles still haven't re-signed him. The Eagles always have a habit of re-signing the players that they want to keep around early. And pay them for production right now rather than production in the future, like what the Chiefs have done the last couple of years. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Nakobe Dean. Next, you got Leo Chanel, Kansas City Chiefs. He is one of the highest graded, Sam linebackers in the NFL at an 87 grade. He is really, really good. He is never cataloged over 600 defensive snaps in a season, which is insane. Until this year, he had 1,490. So pretty dang good for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Leo Chanel, he balled out. He's expected to get a two-year, $12 million deal. He's a really good linebacker. Do I think the Chiefs bring him back? Sure, if it's cheaper than that, which is just insane. But if that $10 million guaranteed, which they're projecting, which is PFF, ends up being is $10 million and like $8 million projected guaranteed, then the Chiefs bring him back in a heartbeat. But we're kind of over the cap by a lot, and so we've got to let some guys go. So do I think the Chiefs are bringing him back? No, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Next two I want to talk about are Mike Evans. Wide receiver, he's definitely walking in free agency. He's an 89.5 grade, coming off a fresh injury. He's expected to get a one-year, $18 million deal with like $15 million guaranteed. I don't see him getting more than $15 million. If I'm being completely honest, guaranteed-wise, it might be $8 million guaranteed. I mean, Mike Evans, I don't think he's coming back to Tampa Bay. He'll probably sign a vet man deal somewhere else. And, it'll be interesting to see. Now, the most interesting one I want to talk about before I get off here, which I'm expelling a lot of my energy. I've been sick lately, is Daniel Jones. What do you do with Daniel Jones if you're the Indianapolis Colts? Because you have draft capital that you traded away. So it's not like you could just draft another quarterback right now, right? Because you traded that when you traded Sauce Gardner. So do you keep Daniel Jones, which proved, when healthy, really, really good? Or do you let him walk in free agency, get nothing, roll with Anthony Richardson this next year? I mean, honestly, if I'm looking at Daniel Jones, I'm re-signing him to a 2-year deal. If I'm being completely honest, a 2-year deal with Daniel Jones. I'll probably make it somewhere in the 20 million range. 20 million, like probably guaranteed, like a 27, 28 million dollar contract total. Just an easy deal. Now, there's going to be some other teams out there that might want him for more than that. So you've got to be able to look and read the market, I guess, when it comes to Daniel Jones. Do I think he's going to be a Colt next season? Yes, because I don't think the Colts have another option. And they might as well go ahead with the quarterback they already have right now, an opportunity to negotiate with. And so that is some projections for free agency. Of course, I'll be covering about every single move that I possibly can through free agency and on to next year, and like with the combine and the draft. So make sure you stick around. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell so you know when I do post, because right now it's not very often, but I will be posting more eventually. And thank you for tuning in and watching. In the past, I've had episodes where, only 2 or 3 people watch, but that's okay with me. As long as I'm just getting the news out there, I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to it. But have fun, and I'll see you next week, guys. Peace!